Have you ever tried matching an entire word using regular expressions only to end up with just the first letter? It's happened to me before, and it's going to keep happening to you until you learn about quantifiers. Another name sounds fancy, just like this channel's name, Height Above Sea Level, but it's just a way for you to decide how many times you want to keep matching. Without quantifiers, you can only match one character, unless, of course, you want to match a very specific word, like subscribe. The question remains though, when or where should you use them? They're usually placed just after the character you want to match multiple times. A good example is what you saw in the previous How to Match Numbers video I hope you watched, where you needed to match a multi-digit number like 374. Without the plus quantifier, you'd match 3, 7, and 4 individually instead of the whole thing. I'm Victor, by the way, and I've been using regular expressions for a couple of years now, so I'd like to show you the 4 main quantifiers you need to know to improve your regular expressions. Let's start with the plus quantifier. If you put this after a character or character class in your regex pattern, it means match this character one or more times. Imagine you're texting your girlfriend for a second. So you go, "Hey babe, you want some candy?" And she goes, candy. The words candy and candy are essentially the same thing. One just has more A's. If you wanted to match both words, using candy alone in the regex pattern would only match the first version. What you can do is put a plus sign after the A to say, I want to match one letter C, one or more letter A's, one N, one D, and one Y. With this change, you'll match both words because they both have one or more A's inside them, unlike my high school report card that was all D's. A good way to visualize and test your regular expressions is to test them on a regex website such as regex101.com. I'm not sponsored by them, but I've used the site before and I think it's a great tool to see your changes as you make them. It highlights the matches for you and provides a short explanation of what got matched and why. So give it a try if you think it'll help you. There are other good ones out there, but this is the one I use the most and I can vouch for. Up next is the asterisk quantifier. Putting this after a character or a character's class says, match this character 0 or more times. Matching a character 0 times just means you'll get a match whether the character is present or not. Here's an example. The word neighbor in British English has a U inside it, while in American English it doesn't. The same goes for words like color or labor. If you had a written conversation between an American and a Briton, yes, British people are also called Britons, and you wanted to match such words regardless of how the speakers wrote them, then you'd use an asterisk quantifier. First, spell out the word in the regex pattern with all the potential letters that could be included and place an asterisk after the U. This means match the letter C followed by a letter O, a letter L, another letter O, the letter U if it exists, and a letter R. Think of the asterisk quantifier as an optional match. If the U exists, add that in there, but if not, ignore it, but don't break the match. The third quantifier is very similar to the asterisk one, except it only optionally matches a character once, and that's the question mark quantifier. The British English words you've just seen have only one U inside them, but the regex pattern you created will still get a match if there are multiple U's in the word, which may not be what you want. If you only want to get a match when there's either no U in the word or exactly one after the letter O, then a question mark quantifier is the better option. This pattern now says match a letter C followed by a letter O, a letter L, only one U if it exists, and a letter R. With this change, any words with multiple U's in them won't be matched. Just like the others, the question mark quantifier is placed right after the character you want to match 0 or 1 time. Finally, we have the curly braces quantifier. Always wondered how that name came to be, curly braces. The braces are curly, but they have that little pointy section, so why not call them pointy braces? Anyway, the curly braces quantifier, as we saw in the How to Match Numbers video, gives you more control by letting you specify the number of matches you want. You can specify an exact number of matches, a minimum amount of matches, or even a range of how many matches you want. This is all determined by the number you place inside the curly braces. Let's circle back to the candy example. If you wanted to match candy with 2 A's, you'd put a pair of curly braces with 2 inside it next to the A in the regex pattern. If you wanted to match candy only if it has 1 to 3 A's, you'd put a pair of curly braces next to the A with a 1, a comma, and a 3 inside it. If you wanted to match candy with at least 2 A's and no maximum limit, you'd just put a 1 and a comma inside the curly braces. Hopefully you get the idea. Let's switch over to Visual Studio to see all of this in action using C#. If you're not familiar with Visual Studio or C#, I've linked a playlist at the top right of your screen to help get you up to speed on the platform and how to set up the console application I'll be using in this short demo. First up is the plus sign quantifier that matches a character one or more times. So go ahead and create a string variable called message and type in a sentence with the word candy spelled normally in another version with 4 extra A's. Next, create another string variable called pattern to store the pattern you want to match. Just type candy as usual to begin with, so you first see what you'll get and then you'll try again with the plus quantifier. Now that you have a piece of text to look through and a pattern, go ahead and create an instance of the RegEx class and put the pattern variable between the parentheses. Almost there. Finally, you'll use the matches method to extract all the matches from the text, loop through all of them, and then log them to the console. Let's see what you get when you run the application. You only get one match, the word candy spelled exactly like you did in the RegEx pattern. Go ahead and add a plus sign next to the A and then run the application again. You now get matches for both words regardless of the number of A's in them. But while on the topic of A's and pluses, if you'd like this A+ Visual Studio theme I'm using, you can find it over on patreon.com/heightabovesealevel. It's a step up from the default Visual Studio theme you probably have that has dull colors and doesn't always highlight your code effectively. That's where this custom Sasuke theme comes in. It has multiple colors to ensure you can make out everything at a glance without having to worry about confusing your fields with properties or enums with dictionaries. If you've been struggling with that and want something new and refreshing that does the job, I've got you covered over on patreon.com/heightabovesealevel, and thank you so much to those of you who do become patrons. Let's take a look at the asterisk quantifier next. Go ahead and replace the message text with a sentence or paragraph with the words color spelled with and without a U. Next, change the pattern variable to have the word color in it spelled with a U. That's all. If you run the application, you'll only match the word color spelled using British English. Let's see what happens now when you add an asterisk after the U. You now match both words written in American and British English. For the question mark quantifier, go ahead and add multiple U's to the word color written in British English in the message. Now run the application. As you can see, the word color with all the U's is matched, but if you replace the asterisk with the question mark, the word is no longer matched. Take a look. For posterity, remove all the extra U's on the word color so it's spelled correctly in British English. You'll now match both the American and English spelling. For the curly braces quantifier, just use the message variable you had earlier with candy spelled differently. Since you'll be making similar adjustments to what you just did with the other quantifiers, I'll just let the video play out. Perfect. Brief recap before I let you go. You can decide how many times you want to match a character using quantifiers. The 4 main ones you need to know to get started are the plus sign quantifier that matches a character 1 or more times, the asterisk quantifier that matches a character 0 or more times, the question mark quantifier that matches a character 0 or 1 time, and the curly braces quantifier that lets you specify an explicit number of times you want to match. I'll leave a link to the cheat sheet of all these down in the description below in case you need a quick reference. That's all I had for you guys. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up. Leave any questions you have in the comment section below and I'll get to them as soon as possible. Again, if you like the Visual Studio theme I'm using and would like to have it, it's available on patreon.com/heightabovesealevel. There's a Discord server if you prefer chatting over there, link in the description below. And I also have a Twitch channel if you like live interactive experiences over on twitch.tv/avatarvic. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, from me to you, deuces.